Hey, chiquito. Hey. Hola, mi amigo. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is episode 130. 130. And I'm going to show you what's in my bag. So, ooh. Um, okay. Would you like me to continue with the dog saga? That is never ending. Okay, so remember I told you last week I had a lead and to keep your fingers crossed. Oh my God, that turned out spectacularly bad. It was just bad. Okay, so the lead was a puppy. My dream Chihuahua puppy coloring. It was a girl. I'm kind of partial to boys, but the coloring, she was tricolored. She was black and tan with white paws, which is what I like because then their nails are white and I can more easily trim them because you can see the quick, where in black nails you can't see the quick, so it's just harder. Um, Not something you would think when you're looking for a dog, right? That's what I look for is I don't like clipping black nails because you can't see the quick and it makes me nervous. Anyway, so my dream dog, she wasn't going to be ready until like July 17th or 19th or something like that. So we had a bit of ways to wait. Um, so the lady wanted me to call her, so I gave her my phone number and she called me and we talked about what kind of home I have and stuff like that and like my history, my experience with chihuahuas and dogs in general and all this stuff. And she said, "Well, you sound good. I would be, willing to sell you one of my puppies. This is a breeder. I gave up on rescues." And then I want a puppy. So she agreed. And so it was through the site Good Dog, which I do not recommend, and I'll tell you why. So she asked me to pay the deposit, which I did willingly, of course. And the site has some fees to protect you, wherein if there's something goes wrong and you need a mediator, they will mediate. So it's kind of like when the money goes into escrow. And then once the parties agree that everything's fine, then the money is divvied out. So you're not given the money and that. So the money's held until everyone signs off and says good deal. And then the funds are released, which I thought was okay. And I didn't mind paying the processing fees for that. It was $15 and $3. I didn't have a problem with that. That was fine. My problem was this lady wanted to be kept up to date with the puppy. I also did not have a problem with that. I foster. I know how hard it is to give a dog away and never hear back about them. And I said, that's fine. I can email you or text you. And she was like, can we be Facebook friends? And I went, this is a bad idea. Because I am, how do I say this? I am very liberal. And I'm in the middle of Trump country, as we know. Also have an update on the neighbors. That's not them though. That's my neighbors here. She's having work done in her and they need her driveway. So that's not their cars. Anyway, I'm going to distract myself is what I'm going to do. Anyway, so she's sending me pictures and everything, and I'm asking more questions. Like, what's the, what, because I genuinely I did not know what the schedule is for the vaccines. And I was like, do you know what vaccines she'll have when I take her home? Because, I want to make an appointment for the vet so I'm on time. And she was very focused on this dog being spayed and that I didn't breed her. And I said, I don't breed dogs. It's not something I would want to do. And I'm like, don't want to do that. I don't want to breed her. That's not something I would ever do. And she kept harping on it, and I was like, this is a non-issue because she will be spayed. That's Lola almost died from an infected uterus. That because I was told she was spayed when I got her until she went into heat, and then they wanted to wait till her heat was over, and then she had, I think it's pyometra. She had an infected uterus, and she needed emergency surgery that was very, very expensive. Like right at the end of her heat, infected uterus. So we didn't even have time to schedule because we were waiting for the heat to be over. So I was like, I explained to her, my dog had that. I don't want that to happen ever again because it was so much more expensive when I could have just got her spayed normally. Had I known, she would have been spayed way before that. Like, had I known she wasn't spayed, but they told me she was, and then she wasn't. So anyway, she kept bringing it up, and I was like, yes, I agree. I agree she needs to be spayed, and I promise I won't breed her. Like, I didn't know how else to say I agree, then I agree. So I don't know. And then she kept saying how much she loved her, and I was like, I'm like, are you sure you're going to get rid of her? Like, are you sure you're going to be able to give her up? Because I'm like, I just lost my dog of 9 years that I loved. And I need to know before I get, hooked on this baby, if you're going to change your mind, because I'm going to be heartbroken. And she's like, no, we have 9 dogs already. And since she won't be bred, we're not going to keep her. I'm like, okay. I asked her 3 separate times, 3 separate days. And got the same response. So I was like, okay, she's doing to me what I did to her, which is I'm being as clear as I can. My answer is not changing. And then her answer changed. She was on me again about the spaying. And I was like, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. And then I started talking about how we were puppy proofing the house, and we were trying to get all ready, and I was trying to think if there was anything I needed to have for her that I wouldn't already have. And so I was like, is there anything you could think of that I don't have, that that I would need that I might not have? And she's like, oh, blah blah blah. And then she's like, oh, I know you're just gonna love her, and like all these heart emojis. And I'm like, okay. And then like an hour later, I just got a text that's like, I can read it to you. She says, I've refunded your money. We decided to keep her. And then she blocked me and unfriended me. So I was sobbing. I went outside and sat in a chair and just cried over it. Because this is 4 times now. And the reason I went to a breeder this time was so I wouldn't have to deal with this. I wouldn't have to deal with someone rejecting me or changing their minds again. And it wouldn't be, oh, you missed out. We already gave, the dog's already been adopted. Or we can't get a hold of your contacts, or any of this BS that I was, getting. It's a transaction. I give you money, you give me the puppy. And you can't get puppies in rescue. You cannot get purebred Chihuahua puppies in rescue out here. You just can't. And I could not find any outside, because Chihuahuas are readily available in Texas and California, but there aren't any pipelines to get them here. Don't think I wouldn't be willing to work with someone to do a pipeline of shipping or transporting them here, because the demand is so big out here. we could put these breeders out of business. They wouldn't have to breed their dogs anymore. We could just give them ones that are coming into rescue. Okay, so that aside, who cares? So I was like just dejected. I had named her already. I was ready for her to get here. I changed a whole bunch of our stuff in our house to be ready for her. And I feel like I can imagine that, not to this scale, of course, but I can understand why people that are adopting children from a birth mother are like, well, do we even take the chance of putting, a nursery together? Do we have a shower? Like, she can change her mind at the last minute, and I thought this was a done deal. I had paid the deposit. We were locked into a contract. Everything was fine. So then the refund comes through and it's minus $18, the $15 for a fee and then a $3 processing fee. So I emailed the company because I was like, this is BS, because all through the thing it says how protected you are. And I was like, hey guys, I'm not feeling real protected since I just went through your entire process and then the lady decides to keep the dog. I'm out $18 and no dogs, and I'm not even the one that broke the thing. Like, why am I being penalized? I didn't break the thing. I still am in need of a dog. Like, I didn't say I didn't want, I didn't change my mind. She decided whatever with no explanation. So I got an email back that they were going to refund my money, but then in the actual email that shows your refund, they still charge me $3, and I'm so mad about it. Make her pay the $3. Make her pay the $3. I'm so mad about, I was so hurt by this. I'm so So again, I started looking at rescues again. No rescues except for this guy. Oh, here. Hi, Chiquito. Yeah, hate him? No, I don't hate him. He's super cute. Not my favorite. He hates all the dogs. He's not a dog that fits in this family. Loves cats. Loves the cats. Hates all the dogs. Hates Lola. Hates Ripley. Hates my husband. He guards my lap and doesn't let anyone near me. So he needs someone that is going to let him be their lap dog. And I already have a lap dog. And if he's not willing to share it, he's not willing to share it with Lola. So you can't stay here. So he'll be getting adopted. Today, I went further. I was like, okay, maybe we won't get a puppy, but I know this is my last chance to get a puppy. In 20 years, I'm going to be 66. I don't want to make a lifelong commitment to a puppy at 66. I think that's unfair. I think this is my last shot at having a puppy. And I got my first Chihuahuas in the year 2000 as puppies. They were the only two of the litter, and I took them. And I loved them. And I know so much more now that I just want that puppy experience one more time, just one more time before I'm too old. And because I know the rest of my life is going to be, this guy's 10 years old. The rest of my life is going to be saving these elderly gentlemen and ladies. And that's fine. I'm fine with it. I don't mind that at all. It's just, for me, just one more time. Just one more time can I just have this puppy experience. So I found another lady who's closer to me. That lady was 2.5 hours away. This lady I'm in the suburb of Cleveland. She's somewhere in the city. So 20-minute drive, maybe half hour, depending on which side she's at. It could be 40 minutes. I don't know if she's just saying Cleveland. It's not really Cleveland, and it's probably within an hour, I would say, of my location. So I called and left a message, and I have not heard back yet. So fingers crossed again, you guys. He's a cutie. He's super cute. So today's Wednesday. So he's available now. He is of age. He can be taken now. So as soon as she calls me back and she is available, I will go see him. And she had a few, so I'm not stuck on that one, but he is my favorite. But I'd be willing to look at the other ones. And if she has further, she has more, I don't know how many breeding pairs she has. And if she's planning any more litter. I'm like, I was trying to not be down on myself for going to a breeder because it isn't like a puppy mill. These are, just women in their houses, and they're not charging exorbitant amounts of money. I still have a problem with the whole that a dog can't consent to it. And I don't know how that works out, but my one friend said, I said, would I be a giant hypocrite if I did this? Would I be like a giant, piece of what if I do this? And she's like, you have saved hundreds of animals, hundreds. Because we stopped counting the kittens I saved at 300. I was like, I'm done counting. I don't want to count anymore. 300 is more than enough. And I think the dogs were at like 40 something. And she's like, because I've been fostering dogs for 8 years, and I fostered bottle baby kittens, abandoned kittens, neonatals for 6 years. So there were overlapping times of that where I had all of it happening. And she said, you've done so much that you can this one time, you get a pass. You get a pass this one time. And she's like, I'd give you more passes, but you want a puppy, you get a pass. Like, you get a pass this one time. You've done more than enough, and you're going to do more. You've more than earned this one. Because it's the same reason why I don't eat meat. I can't dismantle the meat industry, and nor would I want to, because what happens if those animals, like cows, are not part of the meat industry? What happens to them? What happens to them? Do they as a species just end? Are they wild? Are they round up like the wild horses are and shipped off? And like I don't know what would happen. I don't know what the end of that industry looks like. Do you know what I mean? What does the end of that industry look like? I don't know. What does the end of the breeding industry look like? I don't know. Would we never have puppies again? Can we sterilize every animal on the it's not, me doing this one thing is not going to do anything. Just as me saving 300 has not done anything. Me saving 40 dogs has not done anything. There are still millions more to save. Like, it's a drop in the bucket, right? But I was having trouble being like a hypocrite. And she was like, I think you're allowed to do this for yourself. I think you're allowed. With all that you've done, I don't think anyone's going to say anything to you. So I don't know. I'm still struggling with that. And I really want one more puppy. I really want one more. My boys were so special to me. And I just would love to relive that one more time while I'm on this earth. Just one more time. And I feel like whatever we do, would you see Kitty Paw right there? It's Bree's foot. She's so cute. I really want to get our third family member in here because Lola's getting older. Rippy's 10, Lola's 13. And I want to get, I want to kind of not replace, you know what I mean? But we can afford 3 dogs. I'd like to keep having 3 dogs because so many do need saved. Because we have the room, we have the ability, and I love them. I'd like to, once we feel ready, to get them in as quick as possible so they can learn from the ones that are here, so we can perpetuate this really accepting environment of like, then they'll know how to greet fosters that come in, because we have this whole way of how we greet fosters, and it's really low key. And I mean, the dogs get so excited when it's new foster dog day. It's like Christmas morning, and they're all excited. We get a new friend, and I want to keep that going so we can keep, because the only reason I can keep fostering is that the cats are fine, the dogs are, everybody's fine with it. And I want to keep that. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I know some of it is from our house, from the behavior that we've taught them, and the non-abusive situation that I'm in, because I didn't know cats could be like this. Because when I grew up in an abusive household, and my dad was a drunk and he was yelling all the time, and the cats would scatter. The cats were all in a separate room with a separate litter box. They were all shut in a room because they would just fight. If they came into contact with each other, they would fight. And I realized that's probably the energy in that house was doing that to them. And the energy in my house now is totally different. And I'm like, did we just get really good animals? Like, this isn't what we did, right? Like, this is like something magical that happened where everyone, like, the cats love each other. The cats picked each other. Lola and Ribby have been best friends since Lola got here 9 years ago. And they're so welcoming to everybody. Well, fosters, not so much as people. They don't really like people, but they don't like new people. But once they know you, then they're okay. So like I it's really important to me that we continue with that kind of environment for everybody. And it would be so much easier to just go into Cleveland than going down to Columbus, you know. Anyway, that's my saga. I do have some medical stuff that I might talk to you at the end if I feel like it and I remember. Because I had my test yesterday. It did not go well. I did not finish the test. So if you want to hear about that, I might tell you at the end. I'm going to make a note to tell you. And it's not going to be very descriptive. Okay, what am I wearing? I'm wearing my robe because it's cold. And also, I'm a little bit like vulnerable today from everything that's happening. Having a bad test yesterday, not being able to complete the tests, being yet again let down with another dog. Like, I feel like I am just not a bundle of nerves in the way where like you're irritated, but a bundle of nerves where you're just hurt. So I just feel like an exposed, like a stubbed toe or something that just hurts, and don't touch it. You know, it's like I'm hurt. I'm hurting, I guess. Yeah, I'm hurting. It's okay to say that. I'm hurting. Okay. I am wearing one of my crop DK, which I'm going to put one of our tops on, so you'll probably see some of it. That is a Vitalana Lofty DK, which is from Knit Crate, so it is no more. And I did the dumbest thing. I was washing my cotton tops yesterday, threw them all through 5 of these in a lingerie bag and threw them in the washer, and not even thinking, because I was like, oh, it's cotton, they'll be fine. No, it's 48% merino and 20% alpaca. So they felted a bit in cold water because I put them on I didn't put them on gentle, which I wasn't even thinking that I just cotton, put them in there. No, the straps got tight, but I think I was able to pull everything out. So I might wet the straps again, and because those stretch pretty well if they're wet. So I might just wet the straps and do some zhuzhing and figure out how to, because it's otherwise it's fitting pretty well. I would just like that the straps a bit looser. So oh my god, reminder to just check before you toss stuff in the water. Oh my god, I wasn't even thinking, because of course the cottons can go in, that's no problem, but I wasn't thinking that these were just cotton, because they're not. Anyway, okay, we're all caught up. Let's talk whips. So I am still working on the top down, um, the double layer hat, but I'm just not showing it to you because I haven't worked on it. And our our big one this week was now, okay, this is loosely taken from Ripple Crop Top Worsted by Jessie Made Designs. It's a $10 pattern on Ravelry. If you sign up to her newsletter, you get some coupons. Now, her version is made bottom up, and I wanted to make a top down, and I wanted to make a wrap top. Okay, so first of all, what I told you last week, I ended up not doing, because that I was going to do in the DK weight of these tops that I make. And I didn't want to do that because I was worried about yardage. So I did this one to the gauge of the pattern. And when I tell you it came out huge, it came out huge. So let's talk about a little bit what I did, and then I'll put it on and show you. So I started at the back. So I cast on here at the top and went down. And when I actually added an extra inch, because their armholes were 9 inches and I went to 10 inches. And just because I wanted to see what would, the 9 when I had it did not look enough. But I think I might try 9 for the armholes are not stretchy, which is fine. They're just not stretchy, which is good because I didn't want the length to be stretchy. Do you know what I mean? I'd like the length to not be stretchy. So then after I did this back piece to the measurements, I added 1 inch. I went up here and I picked up for first the left side, I picked up, and then I followed in pattern. And this, what I did for this was really cool, if you can see this, to add on in pattern. I did that too with make one rights. If it was a knit, and if it was a purl, I did a knit front and back. So I would just knit the first stitch, and then the back stitch was going to be that extra. And then I left two stitches for the salvage edge. So you were always knitting or purling. These were stockinette 2 stitches for a nice edge, which is the same edge here. But this is 3 stitches. So I just did 2. And with these, your actual end doesn't really matter because they're going to be crossed. So, well, I guess this side does. But anyway, that was something I had to work on as we went. So the same thing here, I did the exact same, but I mirrored it. So I worked the opposite way. And these were make one lefts to lean left and purl front and backs. Well, the first one would be a knit front and back, and then after that they were purl front and backs for the pearls, for the purl stitches. And I think this side looks better. This side looks a little bit holier, and I'm not sure what made a hole, but it might just be my tension. I'm not sure. They really do both look pretty similar and look just fine. So then what I did was I kept going for the wrap. I kept going, and I stopped here. And what I'm going to do next time is I'm going to keep increasing until we're going to join. And I think I'm going to join farther up so it's not so deep. And I didn't add anything here. And so I actually did a decrease here. So I didn't have 6. But what I'm going to do the next time around is add 3. So we'll have that extra third in here because I wanted it to match up here. And I didn't really care what happened down here, but well, when we get to the new one I'm doing, I'll show you. Okay, so my problem with this is the size. So when I put this on and I do this, I can fit like 3 of me in here. So I was like, the reason I didn't frog it, number one, was to show you guys that I did do it. Proof I did it. And also because as I'm working the new one, I would like to have this to come back and compare to. So what I did last night is Did you hear Bree meow at me? I'm okay. Bree's got a meow if you sneeze. So what I did yesterday is, okay, to get gauge on this, which was 15 stitches and 22 rows, I had to go up to a 5. And it is very, very, very open. And I did the size 2, which I forget what size bust that was. So for this one, I've gone down to a size 4, which is what I do my worsted weight tops on. And so I had my cotton one of those on, and that one was 112 stitches. So I'm working to do 114, which will keep the stitch pattern, 114 stitches around. Because this one is 126 and it's humongous. And I know 126 on my 4s is also going to be humongous because I have it 112 on my other one. So for the gauge of this, I'm getting 15 stitches to 3 inches. The 4 is off, so I'm doing everything with 15 to 3, plus it stretches more. And I'm getting 30 rows to 4 inches instead of 22. So it's not, that's only 8 more. Okay, so I think this is way better fabric. And normally I would go down even one more size to a 3-5, but I want to do the 4s first because I'm pretty sure I will have enough yardage, because this, to make one of my tops in this on these size needles, takes me 1.5 skeins, and I have 3 skeins. So really all I'm making up is the back and right here and a little bit more for the crossover. So that's not going to take me all of that. In fact, when I have this, I'll know what I will have left over for the front part. When I weigh this, I'll know how much I'll have for to make the front part and still have enough for the bottom. Does that make sense? So, because this is 230 yards and my worsted is typically 220. So that gives me a little bit of a cushion, because a lot of my DK tops I looked and they aren't at 230 yards. One, I did one in 230 yards and that took me 1.6 skeins. So 160 grams. So if I needed to go down to that, I think I still could, but I want to get this 4 done and see what happens. Now, the cool thing about this is I did this in 3 pieces. So nothing's been cut because I had 3 skeins. So I did the back piece on 1 skein, and then I did this one piece on 1 skein, and then this piece from 1 skein, and then one of these became the working yarn for this in the bottom. But when I put this on and it was so tight, I was like, let's just stop. I didn't want to put any more work into it because it was so just sew this, which to me is wasted yarn, and I don't want to wear something that's going to stretch like this, especially cotton. No thank you. So I have this to go on. I'm not going to put it on. I changed my mind. So I'm going to finish with this one and see what happens, because it doesn't stretch like as much as that, at least not yet, but this is plenty to stretch across my back, plenty. And I'm going to make it probably till about that and see how it fits and how things are going. And I think the measurements I can get off the 3 pieces, because once I'm here, that's about where the rest of my stuff starts, of my tops. So I know how much yarn I need there. So this top part is really what is the unknown. So if I have this, then I know how much yarn and if I'll have enough to finish. So I might, if this works out, Bree, can you stop eating that, please? I'm going to redo this. If I think this is too big, I might redo this on the 3/5. I might, and go down a size needle if I think this is too big, and then I might go up a size. So again, if I have, by this point, I should know if I have the back piece, the weight of the back piece, the weight of the 2 front pieces, and I have the weight of this in a 3/5, the back piece, the 2 front pieces. I should know, I should be able to tell from this, if I'll have enough to finish in a 3/5. But that's only if I think the 4 is too big, which I'm not sure. It might be fine. I'm hoping I think it'll be fine. But I also have to I'm going to block this when I hit 9 inches. I'm going to block this and see what happens there. So I'll probably hit 9 inches today and block this, and so I'll have a better thing with that. So that's all I'm counting as my whips today, because they're so involved, and I haven't even touched the hat, so it's pointless to say any of that to you. So okay, I don't have any finished objects. I don't have any squishy mail, so I guess we'll go with what's in my bag. Well, I mean, first of all, what's in my bag is a project, so let's take that out. This is fun. I love when people show me what they carry around with them. Okay, so first, these are in my bags. This is my schedule, and this is notes. So patterns that I'm working on. I did a top-down rib tank just to print out that I can make marks on. This one that I'm doing, though, is actually in a... These are my dog notes, but this is... I use one of these when I'm actually writing patterns, because oh my god, no, this little one can't do it. But if you're just keeping track of like things you want to do, or rows, here's my increasing for hats and cowls, gauge and weight of Abigail. Oh, I didn't do her. So yeah, weights of the skeins, gauge, stuff like that, just in case I have to make any changes and stuff like that. And then over here, it's got a pocket. So stuff, this is the Lotus that I'm working, oh, this is the Stephen West slumber shawl that I'm working on. So if I'm not, that one just got thrown over. If I take it off, it comes over here. So, oh, and then I have the bamboo pop sock hat that I made my husband. I have the notes here because I'm making one for me, and I'm going to make it the same way. So I made it the same. So that's in there. My planner's in there. I have this little bag, and in this bag I have my gauge swatch measurer. I have snip snips. I love these bent. Do you see these? These are bent. Oh, pen mark. These are bent. I don't know why, but that makes I don't cut into my yarn so much. I have the fixed drop stitches. It's got a crochet hook on one end and a pointy hook on the other end. I have an eraser for when I have to erase in pencil. And I only have this in here because my cat eats them. Because my cats eat everything. Then I have this, which is for needles. I have bent needles. I have some big ones and some littler ones. I love the bent tip needles. They work so much easier for me. It's so much easier. Then in here, this little tin are my Heidi and Lana stitch markers. So I have my medium size stitch markers and my small size stitch markers, because these are snag proof. So I'm only using these markers for now on, just because they're snag proof, and I really like the snag proof because everything snags me. So that's in my little bag of everything that is at my fingertips. And that just goes right in the main, that is in the main part of my bag. So let's go to a side. So in this side, I have a scale with the weight. This weight is to calibrate. And I leave this thing on it. It has a protective thing on. And I leave that on so it doesn't mess with the weight panel thing. So this, I always have a scale on me that I can recalibrate at any time. Then in this pocket, I have the light bulb stitch markers. I have them in black, in silver, and in gold, because I do a lot of counting rows with these, so I don't have to recount rows. You can also double stitch markers if you need stitch. So that's on that side. Then on this side, we have a clear zippered panel and these little pockets. And in this pocket, I have, what is in here? Because this should be reading glasses. Oh, reading glasses with my bat things. So I have my reading glasses in here, if I'm ever stuck and don't have my bifocals. I have reading glasses. Then in here, what do I have in here? I have a knit keeper cord set from the Blue U. I have little mini nail files. Because. And then I have a tape measure. This is from SBY Bryant Yarn. I can't remember her name. Fiber Lux & Co. I have these for when I don't need... I bought these for something else, but now I've been using them for just regular projects that don't need protection from the bag. So those are in here. I have more needle protectors. These are the ones for bags, for my vinyl bags, so I don't poke through the bag, so my needles don't put holes in my bags. I love these. These are just from Clover. They're small and a large. You have to be careful though, because they will melt, and this is what happens if your cat bites them. Can you see? My cat bit this one. Still got your fur on it, Bray. So she bit it and it just splintered. So yeah, green and purple ones to protect my bags. But then the other ones I will use for just bags, just so my thing won't come off. And then in here I have this H hook. This is from a Supernatural thing. I put this in just in case, but I really don't need to because I have the other one in my. Sometimes, actually, should I put this in this bag? I want it where it's not going to get crunched, so I think I'm actually going to take this out since I have the one in here. I should get more of those metal ones because those are. So that's what's in my bag. Anything I could. This is hilarious because this is empty. This is the Knit Keeper Cords clothing set. There's silicone cord, hollow center. One is 60 inches and two are 30 inches. So this is for like sweaters. The 60 goes around the body, the 30s are around the arms. But it's empty. This is probably in something. And I have two of these. I bought a backup. And I'm pretty sure this is my backup. So I don't know where they are at the moment. I should probably buy a third one while I'm here. Buy a third one. So then I have everything I could possibly need. And then I just put my present work in. And I'm ready to go. Ready to go. So that's how I do. What's in my bag? Do you have something in your bag that you did not see in my bag? Is there something I need in my bag? Please tell me immediately if there's something I need that I'm missing. I just went through and said, what do I use the most? And so that bag will travel with me if I'm working out here, if I'm working in the bedroom, or if I'm working in the living room. That bag comes with me wherever I'm working. Or if I leave. It'll come with me if I leave. But usually I just take a small project. I don't take the whole bag. Like if I was going to knit on purpose, then I would take it. Yeah, that's what's in my bag. What's in your bag? Anything special? Anything I missed? What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing that I missed? Let's see. Let's tell you what next week is. I'm pretty sure it's Planning July, which... Yeah, Planning July, which I'm not even ready for. Okay, so that's the end of my knit content. So if you don't want any more, see you next week. These people, okay. One problem, but also one good thing. A couple showed up a couple days ago, and they brought in a table. Like a kitchen table, a big giant table. And then they were here the other day. I wasn't out here yesterday because I had that medical test, and then I was sleeping the rest of the day because it went horribly wrong. And I didn't sleep the night before. So they also brought in a big blue pit bull on a leash. And the whole time they were in and out of the house, I did not see the dog at all. So, like, that's a good thing, right? Like, we saw a dog, and I'm like, ooh, I'm worried. But the dog was on a leash, and we never saw it until they left with it. Also on a leash. And then they took it to the backyard to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, I think these people aren't going to traumatize me with their dog crossing the street and running up along our fence to, irritate our dog. So... But I still don't know why they haven't moved in yet. If they just moved a table, like, I'm not sure if they're the new neighbors or not. I don't see why they would be over here moving in a table with their dog if they weren't moving in. And it's like the 14th, yeah. So I'm not quite sure if they will be our new neighbors. I guess we'll see. Anyway, so yesterday I had a manometry test, which is to... It's to find out how well you're swallowing. It's to measure the pressure of your esophagus while you swallow. And, okay, what they do is they put a scope up your nose, down your throat, to your stomach. goes all the way down your esophagus so it can feel everything. And they don't actually know when it's in there all the way, so they just keep going. And before you do anything, you have to snort this gel of lidocaine. So you snort it up your nose. Up your nose, down your throat. And it's this big piece of gel. And it has a medicinal plasticky taste. Not pleasant snorting something gel-like up your nose. And then you have to wait 5 minutes for it to numb your nose and everything, and then they put the scope down. So keep in mind that I have medical related PTSD. So anyway, the thing is that here's in theory what happens is the scope is down, right? You have to drink salt water because that reacts to the copper in the sensors in the scope. 10 times you have to drink salt water, but it's just a teaspoon. And I'm like, salt water is disgusting. Who wants to drink that? That's awful. And this test is so barbaric that I don't know how technology has not surpassed this, because it was so painful. We got the scope in. I got it down my throat. And she kept going, and she was like, "Oh, okay, looks like that's enough." And I'm like, it was, I'm traumatized I'm not even kidding. I'm traumatized from this, and I couldn't finish. I couldn't even get to the actual test part. I started panicking because I couldn't breathe. I could not breathe. I had this thing in my throat. And your whole, you feel it. You could feel, I felt the whole thing everywhere, all up everywhere. And it was so painful. And I started obviously having a panic attack. And see, here's the thing. When I was in the hospital, they threatened me with, they threatened that they were going to make me eat from a bag. They were going to put the thing up my nose, down my throat, and that they do to anorexic people. Because I was so scared I couldn't eat. That's what I do when I'm one of those people. When I'm stressed, I cannot eat. I can't eat. I just can't eat. And so when I'm in the hospital, I'm stressed out. Can't eat. Well, if you don't eat, we're going to have to do this or you're going to die. And I was like, okay, fine. But I didn't want to eat the hospital food because it was gross. And I was 13. And the nurse was very, very mean, and I didn't have anyone advocating for me. So I immediately felt like it brought all that back of them. They would threaten me with that to get me to do what they wanted to do. I'm saying when I was little, they would threaten me with the eating from a bag. They would threaten that to get me to be compliant, to do what they wanted me to do while I was in the hospital. So here I am, right? And this is even worse than what they threatened me with. So I immediately was thrown back to that PTSD place. So I was asked the lady to get this out of me. I can't do it. And she's like, "You're so close. Let's just do it." And then once it's in, the actual test takes 30 minutes. And I'm like, I can't stand 30 minutes of this. I can't breathe. It hurts so bad. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So I finally got her to take it out. And then, which is weird. I was 2 seconds away from saying I'm withdrawing my consent. I didn't know how else to get her to take this out of me. I was scared. So then she called in her supervisor. Once it was out, she called in her supervisor. And I'm like trying to get all this stuff out of my throat and my nose. And it's just blood and it's gross. And the supervisor's like, well, we can have you come back in. We'll just make another appointment and you can come back in and we'll put you to sleep real quick just to put it down. And then you can wake up and it's already there. And I'm like, that sounds worse to me because it going in wasn't bad. It was having it in my throat that was terrifying. It was huge and I couldn't breathe and I was like, what is happening? I was so scared. And it just hurt all the way down. It hurt so bad. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds worse. Not doing that. So we left and I called my doctor and I left a message and I said, I was unable to complete the test. I can't do this test. It's too much. It's too painful. It's too much. It's not just like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I said, I'm assuming she's going to want me to make another appointment to come see her. But I'm like, I don't know what she wants me to do. Just have her tell me what she wants me to do. Because I don't know what she wants me to do. Because here's the thing. The treatment for the motility issue is low-dose antidepressants or low-dose SSRIs. Do you know how many of my diagnoses aren't testable? There is no test if you have fibromyalgia. There's for chronic fatigue, there's no test that says you definitively have this. So I'm like, what do I need to have this test for? And it wasn't even like that. If that test had been like a cure, I would have gone through with it. But I'm like, this is just a test. I have to suffer just for the test, just for a readout, which is stupid. And I was like, I'm not putting myself through this for that. Oh, I wonder if these people live there. Unless this is someone just turning around. Anyway, so I'm still waiting to hear from that doctor what they want to do. But I'm like, I don't see why you can't just put me on the low-dose antidepressants and see if it helps. Because I already had surgery this year. I'm not having surgery again in the same year if I don't want to have surgery ever again. And this isn't even something life-threatening, so I wouldn't have the surgery if it was treatable with a low-dose antidepressant. Those other people there. If it was treatable with a low-dose antidepressant, I wouldn't have surgery on it. So we'll see what happens. But again, keep your fingers crossed for me. I'm like, Jesus. So it's crazy. Come back next week for planning July, which I haven't even started yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a bunch of these V-neck tops, don't you think? Because I got like 8 colors. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing what's in my bag. I've never done one of those before. Let me know if I've missed anything. I would love to know what is your must-have in your bag. Okay. I'm hearing puppies. I'm hearing puppies barking. Cross your fingers that I get one of these guys. Okay. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.